All right, I get what you're saying, but I really do not believe the Bills quarterback is an alien. Think about it, bro. Shows up in town, everybody loves him, has a certain glow about him. It's exactly like E.T. Listen, okay? I know you're desperate to pass the time, waiting for the ticket release of the world's largest startup competition, but you just gotta chill. Hey, give me this blanket. You had it last night.
Folks, don't camp out, don't wait in the rain. Head over to 43north.org or social media and grab your tickets today. Get them before they're gone.
I'm telling you, he is hiding in plain sight. Even think about his last name. What do you mean? Allen? That's pretty standard. Is it A-L-L-E-N or is it A-L-I-E-N?
Welcome into the Crowd Assist podcast. Man, that was fun. We were having so much fun dancing there in the background.
Yeah, we went a long time actually.
Man, that was damn. My arms are kind of tired. I had softball yesterday, and my arms are tired. So I've talked about softball on this show a few times. Welcome to the Crowd Assist podcast, presented by Trainwreck Sports, by the way, sponsored by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? So at softball yesterday, I got called out for throwing the bat at the ump. And the other
Did you throw the bat at the ump?
The thing is, I did not, Jake. Thank you for asking, because I was hoping you would. And the other team, so they weren't arguing against it really when it was happening, because it was the playoffs too. So this ump either had somewhere to go or had money on the other team. I don't know. But then the guy who was batting after me had hemorrhoids, and so he couldn't run around the bases. So sorry for too much information on the dude. I won't say his name. That would be unfair to him. But so then the rule is, if you get a pinch runner, last person out is the pinch runner. Well, that was me. So I jogged past the ump and just stare him in the face. And then next at bat, I just zooted it all way around the base without even looking where the ball was, and I scored. And it was we lost. It was at a pivotal point in the game when this all went down. And I told the ump to watch out for any stray bats on the way home. So the master batters, unfortunately, their season is over 1 week too soon. But luckily, we do have some football. We do have some sports to talk about, some meaningful sports.
We do.
And that's a Bills football game. And before we fast forward too far to Bills Steelers coming up on this Sunday, I know I was in Denver this weekend. It was a little anniversary trip. Me and Lauren went out there, and I promised her I was not going to watch the football game. It's anniversary trip. She can have my full attention. And if I understand, you were also unable to watch the game this weekend, right?
All right, so I made it. I was like,
there we go.
Here's the thing: is it worked out. It was like the universe. I said this last night. It was like conspiring for me no matter what happened, because I had an event. My real life job is in PR, so I had a client event at Soldier Field here in Chicago, which was awesome. Nice. It was great. Soldier Field. If you haven't been there, just looking at the outside of it, I've never been inside, but just the outside.
Yeah, I've driven past before, and it is just a beautiful piece of architecture.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely incredible. So great way to spend a Sunday morning. Honestly, if you got to work, you got to do there. It was awesome. But I was obviously looking at my watch the whole time, because I knew the event ended at 1. Knew we wouldn't have to be there the whole time. Here, obviously, noon kickoffs. So I'm just like, oh man, when are we gonna get there? Whatever. We got to leave at 11:50, which is about a 20-minute ride from my house. So I downloaded a free trial of NFL Plus just so I could watch the first 10 minutes of the game on my phone, and then got to settle in and just watch the entirety of the game. But who would have thought that it would have been the best game to miss the entire first half of, and I could have just walked home and I got to see the good stuff. So it would have worked out either way.
Really. And being in Denver, the time zones really, really fucked with me. And I think that's I think Mountain Standard is the perfect time zone for football, because if it starts at 10 a.m. on the West Coast, that's too early. That's way too early for me to be functioning and ready on a Sunday. But 11 a.m. for a kickoff? Oh my God, Bills and brunch? Are you fucking kidding me? That's perfect. And so if I was able to watch the game, I would have had a fantastic time. However, I was sitting there and at one point, Lauren definitely noticed I was being distraught. I was looking at my phone and I just said, man, I picked a really, really good Bills game to not watch. And then boom, what happens? They finally win a close game with Josh Allen at quarterback. And the close game narrative, it is debunked in my opinion. If you add in all the games where the Bills are winning by one score and then extend that lead in the fourth quarter, like that should count for this. I hate the narrative that they can't win competitive football games because they have. You look at the Colts game in the playoffs, the Ravens game in the playoffs, even the Steelers in the playoffs. Those are Steelers in the prime time in December that season. Competitive football games that this team wins. But at the same time, this is the first time in his career, and it's weird to say for an MVP candidate who's been an MVP candidate for 2 or 3 years now, first time in his career where he really had a signature game-winning football drive. And I think it's kind of one of those situations like when you're in a cold streak shooting threes, or maybe you're in a goal-scoring slump like Jeff Skinner was. Sometimes you just got to feel the ball go in the net. You got to feel the puck hit the back of the twine, and the rest of it just becomes simpler. And I think that that's what this game kind of signifies, is that the really hard things that come so easy to so many teams, like the Steelers of years past, or the Chiefs or the Buccaneers, just closing out a football game. It's way easier said than done. And for a coach like Sean McDermott, who has had, we've had our gripes with him from a game management perspective, sometimes teetering the line between uber conservative to too aggressive. I think that this was just a really important game against a really good opponent who did not score a point in the second half.
You want to talk about one of the biggest takeaways you can have from this game, still only been scored on 7 points in the second half all year long. Yeah. It was 1 touchdown from the Miami Dolphins. That is the only score against that Bills defense. So everything you said about Josh Allen, 1000% and everything. And honestly, it's funny because last year, like seeing the stats pop up, especially on CBS, the way they do it, it's a Josh Allen game now when you see like 190 passing yards, 60 rushing yards, and they start putting those up. And Lamar is really the only other guy in the league that you can see those things. And both of them were popping up on Sunday too, so it was funny.
Yeah.
But he just gets into that zone that he's said it so many times, like he is too competitive. He's not going to slide, all these different things. And they needed him. They needed every second and every inch of like everything that he could do, running, passing, whatever he could do. And he did it again. And like you said about the one possession games, man, before this, they had won 20 straight regular season games by double digits. Like, would you rather have your team winning by a lot and losing by a little, or the other way around? So come on. And the thing is, before that, the team was fine in these games. It's just a point to try to pick at them when these things are clearly like regress to the mean in both ways. Teams that are 7-0 in close games, usually the next year are not good in close games. That's just how these things work. The biggest takeaway for me though is that last year, maybe even 2 years ago, this kind of comeback, this kind of win, I would have been losing my mind. Like I would have been running around the house, like so excited, everything. And I said this on the post game after, it was kind of just like a nice, like tiger fist bump. It was like, yes, like that's all I felt. Like I was like, Bass hit that kick, I was like, fucking go. But it was expected. Like them winning that game and going on the road is expected, and expecting them to compete and be able to win those games. It's a great feeling, don't get me wrong, and I don't take it for granted of where the position this team is at, but they should be able to win these games. And the fact that they could pull it out in the circumstances that they did, super impressive. But that's just what you should be expecting from this team. And I think that, listen, you want to go big picture, everybody would have taken 3-1 after 4 games. I think that they're meeting the expectations that they should have been, and have looked the part too.
People might have picked us to lose to the Ravens instead of the Dolphins.
I did. I know I did. The whole year I was like, this is the first loss that I chalked up the entire summer.
Exactly. And if you can't take away the loss. You cannot take away a loss. A loss is a loss in the NFL. However, it's got an asterisk next to it. You can't take it away, but you can go, anytime anybody mentions it. That's all I'm going to say. But obviously, there was a night and day difference between the Dolphins game and the Ravens game. Biggest difference, obviously, thanks to Jordan Poyer coming back healthy and capping off that incredible goal line stand. Sean McDermott defenses are tough. They're really hard to play against. Haven't always been great against the run. In fact, this right now is the first time in Sean McDermott's tenure where the Bills' run defense is top 10 in run DVOA. So that's just a crazy thing to think about. But one thing they've always been good at is stopping people on the goal line. That Browns goal line stand from 2 or 3 years ago, and now fast forward to 2022. And when Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are the two greatest goal line threats in the NFL. I will take them over Pat Mahomes. I will take them over Justin Herbert. I will take them over, maybe not Brady in his prime because those QB sneaks were lethal, but I would think about it. I really, really would. And to be able to stop Lamar Jackson on the goal line is nothing short of extraordinary. And then Jordan Poyer, icing on the cake, interception on 4th down, because the Ravens are thinking, hey, if we don't get this, they're backed up against their 1 yard line right now.
Yeah.
No. Jordan Poyer says no. And now Pat McAfee's challenging him to get 12 interceptions, and he'll donate $1 million to Poyer's foundation. And it's not shocking to see McAfee do something like this. Obviously, he's a guy that drives good in the world overall from what I've seen ever since he's gotten his platform. And it seems like he's going to do it again because Poyer's only played 3 games. He's got 4 interceptions in 3 games played. I think 12 interceptions, is that defensive player of the year worthy? Are we talking about a safety as our defensive player of the year? When's the last time that happened?
I was just arguing with my brother on the phone about this literally last night because I think Trayvon Diggs was pretty close last year. He had 11 interceptions, wasn't defensive player of the year, but TJ Watt also was damn near the sack record. And that's a situation that will always, a pass rusher near 20 sacks, upper teens of sacks is always going to be favored. But I mean, just look at the impact that this guy has, and also the burden that he's going to have to carry that we know all year without his running mate. And it's a narrative driven. All awards are narrative driven.
Oh my God, yeah, they are.
He's going to have a great one going into it, and this is doable in my mind. I think he's making the plays. I think he's making, and I think that he has decidedly been more aggressive trying to make these plays, because he has some incentives on his contract that got added that I'm sure have to do with interceptions, but also just that contract that he's looking for in general. He wants to come into the year with a strength. I am a big proponent of contract year players in general, thinking that they're going to show out, and he is definitely one of these guys. The mentality we've seen from him and everything else that we know about him as just a worker and all that. There's no doubt in my mind that he is extremely motivated by that situation and is going to do whatever he can to boost those numbers up. And this is one of those things. He's going to take more chances, but it's just, you watch that play. I think everybody's seen it by now at this point, reading the way he read it and him knowing. Great credit to the line for getting pressure on Lamar because Duvernay was wide open in that moment. But Poyer making that play.
He was watching Lamar's eyes the entire way.
Yep. And it doesn't, and it's only a couple players in the back end can make that.
Yeah. So since I'm on Pro Football Reference right now, and sometimes they don't exactly delineate between defensive back and cornerback and safety very well. That's the few detractions that this site really has. But I will say, since 1971, when AP started doing the Defensive Player of the Year, there are only 4 safeties to win that award since 1971. So that's more than 50 years. Can you guess who the most recent one was?
Most recent, Troy Polamalu.
Yep, in 2010. Yeah, and then before that, Ed Reed with the Ravens.
That was my other guess.
Yep, I figured it would be. So if Jordan Poyer could pull this off, he would go down in the most elite of safeties all time. And I think that this is kind of the year, I'll never be happy about the Hyde injury. I will never, ever say that it's a good thing for this football team, for him, anything like that. However, for Jordan Poyer really proving his worth Like, it's a blessing in disguise for that reason and that reason alone, where now Poyer will be talked about as one of the best safeties in the NFL, not one of the best safety tandems in the NFL. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, but also Damar Hamlin is fucking good.
Yeah,
he is a guy. He is a guy, and
he's a guy.
Mm-hmm. What they're looking for, they've been looking for, is a big nickel, a safety that can play down inside and everything else. And Micah Hyde did a lot of that. He's kind of a safety and kind of like a nickel cover. Like, he's done everything for the Bills, and that's what he did in Green Bay too before he came here. Damar Hamlin has shown those chops too. And even Poyer said in his interview on the McAfee show the other day, like, it's so fun to play with him. He's like, I'm having so much fun. And not that he didn't have fun with Hyde, I'm sure, but just making that point, like, about how fun it is. It's about how free they're playing and how much he's going to the ball and everything. So it's gonna be awesome. This defense, you want to talk about historic, I still think that the potential for them is to be up with those best defenses we've seen in a while. Is very high, and they're the number one defense in the league right now. As we said earlier, 7 points in the second half so far. They get to play a rookie quarterback in his first start this week, which we'll get into. It's things are looking up, and we haven't even seen them fully healthy on the defensive side of the ball yet, and we won't.
Yeah, Trey White hasn't played a snap yet.
No Trey White, and Ed Oliver has not played in 3 weeks. And what is the defensive line going to look like when they're all together again?
Oh my God, yeah. Dude, I'm getting giddy just thinking about it. And a reason to get before we get, we're going to talk Kaiir Elam next, but I remember a few years ago when we drafted Damar, I thought, you know what? Him and Dane Jackson, they led one of the best defenses in college football at Pitt. Pitt was surprisingly had one of the best secondaries in the nation. And now I was thinking, this is a team, this is a duo here that, they got the chemistry. These are your future, secondary replacements. Like, Damar Hamlin is the future at safety for this team. And they get him because they have Dane Jackson and they have chemistry. They know how to ball hawk together. And it's nice to see the development come full circle and then get guys who they know. It's just such smart GM-ery by Brandon Beane, getting those two in this same secondary. And
how wild that they're playing against their former quarterback in his first game too. Like, it's so absurd.
Oh my God.
Football universe works out in funny ways.
It does, and that's too good of a segue not to go right into that. But I will just say, Elam Island is officially a thing. He has less yards against him than snaps played.
Yep.
That's all that has to be said.
It's some of those crazy. We've seen that. I think Levi Wallace had some crazy stats like that a couple years ago too.
Yeah.
But he is anytime you see the ball thrown his way, bro, like, he is on the guy. He has been sticky in coverage everywhere. And the biggest knock on him was, how is he going to react to zone defense? He ran man heavy and everything and took a lot of chances. Well, they have coached him
Physical
up.
Dude.
They have coached him up. And he really doesn't take any unnecessary chances at any point so far this season. And I have at least that I can remember off the top of my head. Dude seems sound. He is, not scary for us. I'm very excited, but for the rest of the league is terrifying what he has looked like so far. And he hasn't even been with his running mate yet. Like,
yeah, no, I had a point. Oh yeah. My friend John texted our group chat the other day, and someone asked, how's Kaiir Elam looking? I don't really know. And he said, honestly, I just haven't noticed him, and I'm not going to say
that's the best compliment you can give.
Yeah, literally. Like, he's like, I want to say something better, but like, sometimes that's the best thing you can say on the defensive side of the ball is you just don't notice the guy, especially in the secondary. Like, very few penalties against the guy, like 50 total yards against him on the year in 4 games. Is one where he was tasked with going up against Hill and Waddle with a fellow rookie starting outside of him while everyone else was getting heat stroke. So, dude's for real. Off to just an absolutely incredible start to his rookie year. And, based on the Bills' track record, against rookie quarterbacks, it seems like the start should continue. Now, some people might say it's a trap game. This is a clear, evident trap game. But with a rookie quarterback starting, I really fail to see that, especially with how the Bills have played against rookies historically. 5 touchdowns to 15 interceptions under Sean McDermott when playing against rookie quarterbacks, below like a 60% completion percentage. Now, I was pleasantly surprised with Kenny Pickett. I did not think he was going to be very good coming out of college. My dad's a Steelers fan, and I told him, like, look, this is probably my least favorite first overall quarterback in quite a few years, to be completely honest with you. I was more enamored with Mitch Trubisky than I was Kenny Pickett. But, last week, he was good. He was pretty damn good. He threw it 3 interceptions, but if you look at the context, one was a 50-50 ball where Chase Claypool, possible future Bills wide receiver for a 3rd round pick, just couldn't come up with the effort to come down with the ball, and it was picked off. Another one was like a tipped pass to Freiermuth that was like going towards the ground, I think, and Freiermuth tipped it up, and it was something weird. And then the other one was a Hail Mary. So, like, he's not making rookie mistakes. And granted, it was against the Jets, but I'm sure he expected Mitch Trubisky to make it an entire way through a game against the Jets, right? There's no way he's sitting there on the sideline like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no, I'm coming in this game. This is going to be the one that I'm coming in. If anything, he thought he might be the halftime guy against the Bills on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. I was surprised to see them pull the plug on Trubisky. I know it hasn't looked good in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Think that anyways, so whatever, it's just kind of like instilled in them, like, next man up. Kenny's going to be ready. If you're asking about the trap game, I would go back to that, because I try to, when I look at these things, Bills wise especially, try to take my Bills hat off at all times. I really only save that for during the game. That's I'll be completely biased. Everything else, at the time, I try to keep my just football person, everything else, and try to look at that game from that perspective. If you were asking me if these were any other teams, I would say this is trap game. I would say this is karma, Pittsburgh game, all these different things just lining up between, and the vibes are there too. Like, that is the biggest thing. The biggest thing with the Steelers is they have always known that Kenny was going to be the starter at some point during the season. Everybody's been waiting for this. The dude is, like, as you mentioned, went to school there, is playing against his former teammates. It's his first start, back against the wall. They're going to be 14-point underdogs. All this stuff. It lines up perfectly for a guy who has had storybook shit happen in his life already, like coming back to school. He I read a big article on The Athletic today about his decision coming back to school. It's basically saying, I'm going to win the ACC championship. I'm going to win the Heisman. And what does he do? Wins the ACC title and comes 3rd in the Heisman voting in that year. Mm-hmm. Like, the dude has basically set out to do all the things he's going to do. And I don't think he is going to be phased. Like, I want to say, like, oh, rookie quarterback coming to play the Bills, like, just be like that. But he doesn't feel like a regular guy. And it feels like this team has been ready to rally around him since he got drafted. But all that being said, the Bills are just better than the Steelers. They're a 2-touchdown team, better than the Steelers, no matter what. Like, I don't care how good Kenny Pickett's going to look good Sunday. I think he's going to be fine. The Bills are still just, they're going to make his life hell at some point, though. I think that this team is just too overwhelming. But if you're asking me, like, objectively, yeah, I think it's definitely a trap spot. But just the way that this Bills team has looked so far this year, I don't think that I don't think they're going to let off the gas at any point, really. I think that was a last year thing, as we saw on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills are definitely not going to let off the gas. I mean, we saw, Micah Hyde get hurt in a game where the starters were playing when they didn't even have to against the Titans, that, like, they realized, oh, we're up, what was it, like 20-30 in the 3rd quarter. Now the backups can go in. Like, it wasn't until the game was, like, completely in hand that they decided, let's take our foot off the gas here. And even so, they were still driving down the field. It wasn't like, Matt Barkley out, or Case Keenum out there, just handing the ball off every single time. Like, he was making throws. James Cook was, opening up running lanes and almost had like a 60-yard touchdown run. My Cook brothers parlay really could have cashed that night if that went through. That was a damn shame. But yeah, no, it feels oddly reminiscent of the Jacksonville game last year. for some reason or another. It just does. But at the same time, like, the Steelers injury report is just, I know ours is not good, but theirs is comparably just as bad.
If they don't have TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, they're not doing anything to the Buffalo Bills defensively.
Yeah.
They're just
not even just Minkah, their entire starting secondary. I'm talking Levi Wallace. I'm talking Ahkello Witherspoon, their slot corner, and Terrell Edmonds.
Yep.
All 5 starting secondary members are on the injury report right now. And then today, and Ahkello Witherspoon did not practice yesterday or today, so he's almost a surefire thing to be out. But they had it today. Deontay Johnson, limited practice.
Yep.
Now, he could definitely still play. Just added on Thursday limited. It really could have been like, oh, you know what? You need a rest day. I haven't really looked too much into it. It says a hip injury, and that seems to be kind of a scary thing for a wide receiver, to be completely honest with you. Any football player, to be frank about it. But Kenny Pickett going into a game where his number one target already has drop issues. Now he's hurt. And who's he going to rely on? Chase Claypool, who couldn't come down with the 50-50 ball, which he's very unafraid to throw. Freiermuth, who him against Dane Jackson / Tremaine Edmonds / Matt Milano, I'll take those guys against Freiermuth any day of the week. And then I guess, Kaiir Elam versus George Pickens, that might be a fun battle. Like, George Pickens is like a really, really physical, obnoxiously physical wide receiver. Honestly, I love the guy. And Kaiir Elam was that style of cornerback coming out of college. And that's why, the Bills drafted him. We talked about it over the summer. They saw teams against them last year get away with a lot on the back end, a lot of holds, a lot of physical play in the secondary. They draft Kaiir Elam because he plays that style that's becoming more tolerated by officials in the NFL. Him and George Pickens, I'm going to go out and say I think we're going to have an Elam Pickens fight this weekend, and I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a fun one. Those two got some fire in them.
I'm excited about that matchup as well. Definitely, and I'm excited to see who ends up being the guy for Kenny Pickett, especially. I mean, Deontay Johnson, I would love to see him play for that reason, just to see like who he relies on and everything else. It's gonna be weird because you don't have tape on him, and sometimes those guys you come in don't have NFL tape on him. He might just surprise them on scheme and everything else, and be able to pop some stuff off. This is gonna be a more annoying, even if they cover the spread, it's gonna be a more annoying game than people think. I'm interested to see. You mentioned that depleted secondary for the Steelers, but the Bills, besides Stefon Diggs, really have a very injured receiver room too. I mean, even Dawson Knox out of practice today. It's basically Diggs, Khalil Shakir, and Jake Kumro are the 3 healthiest receivers going into this game. I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially when you still got Stefon Diggs on the field, that he's going to be able to do whatever he wants, has every week so far. But yeah, it's who can take advantage of those matchups. Shakir in a huge spot, obviously, no matter what. I think even if Isaiah McKenzie does play this week, I think they would take it easy and try to split those snaps up and give him the opportunities. Gabe is healthy, probably going to play, but he just hasn't looked like he has the same explosiveness as
and I like to believe it's the ankle injury. It's got
I do. Oh yeah, it is.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
And I think they brought him back too soon in that he wasn't going to play that much in that Miami game. Kumaro, we saw how much Kumaro was getting run, and then he got hurt.
Yep.
And I would imagine that's what it would be more like this week if Kumaro is going full go, because I think he's just hampered by that ankle. But that's what I'm interested to see is what the targets break down as, and what it's going to be like. It'll probably just be Diggs, a lot of Diggs, and that's more than okay with me. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis did log 2 full practices this week, which is better than we could have said for him last week. So definitely trending in the right direction. But of course,
I do think though, Odell is going to be here in like 4 weeks at this point.
Yeah, no, no team needs him more than the Bills do right now.
Here's what I think. This is me putting my conspiracy hat on. Who was Odell's? We always heard reports. It was Josina Anderson. She basically had everything about Odell last year. about where he was going to get when he got traded and all the stuff going on with the Browns and everything else. It was basically all just running through Josina and everything. We have not seen shit about Odell's visits, anything else from Josina or anything else. Who has been the only person to give us any free agency updates, any updates of anything?
I know. Pick me.
Go. Wait, what is the answer?
It was Von Miller.
Von Miller now. Von Miller, what has he been doing this year? He has a podcast. He has a Twitch stream. He is a media member now. He has those
really snazzy glasses.
Great glasses. Great branded hats.
Really great. Yeah.
I think that
he's playing defensive end for the Buffalo Bills.
That too. That's a very important piece.
Okay, wait. Okay, I think I know where you're going now. Incredible.
Von Miller has just been the media spokesperson that Odell has decided to use to announce everything this year. Von on that podcast last night mentioning that he's going on these visits and everything, and then Odell
on Rich and Sherman's podcast.
Disclosing personal information, whatever. No, this is all part of this game. Odell answering Kat Fitzgerald today, who shout out Kat, the GOAT, my favorite Kat. Bills reporter. Sorry guys,
yeah, she's up there.
She is just up there. It's just the humor for me. It is. She just every time she just tweets something that makes me laugh out loud. And one of these days was today, going back and forth with Odell Beckham Jr. Why is he even on the, like, he doesn't tweet about anything, doesn't go with any other fan base. And I know he's getting the attention for it, and he knows he's stirring the pot and everything. But Von Miller has basically told us since August that Odell is going to be a Bill, and there's still no reason to not believe that. And I honestly just think Von is his mouthpiece at this point, because we haven't heard it from Josina, we haven't heard it from other media members. Could definitely see why Odell Beckham Jr. would not trust football media with his life anymore, with all the shit that he's taken, and was just like, Von, like, you're gonna be the guy. Like, we're boys. You know what I'm gonna do. Let's just do it this way. I truly think that is what's happening. And Von and the Bills have been telling us that. And the thing that solidified it for me was watching that podcast. And I love Josh Allen. We all love Josh Allen.
I love you, Josh Allen.
He is as we all know, just a very large child in a large man's body. And he is so good in interviews, but you can tell that he's trying to, like, keep his full goofy self in the whole time. Like, you can tell he's being calculated with answers and such, and he's been trained media wise, and he still lets it out when he needs to and everything else, but he's very good at reining it in. But when they mentioned Odell Beckham Jr. on this podcast, and GM Von said, I think Odell will be, I think we'll see him in a good spot, basically saying that he thinks he's going to end up a Bill. The look on the break and the smile, and Josh Allen, who was very smooth and very good in this whole interview, very quietly saying duly noted, which is a very corny ass thing to say in a spot where you don't want to say anything, but like have to say something. It just gave it away for me. I've watched them both at this point too many times, reactions. I was like, these guys already know what's like. It's already probably happened at this point, and at least verbally. I don't think Von would have come here if Odell didn't agree to it. That's the big thing I'm going out to, because I think it's been that long. Because it was right at the beginning of camp he posted the Odell picture. Like, it was right away.
It was like in August. Right away. Yeah. It did not take very long. And two thoughts. One, Josh is basically like if a child and a golden retriever got into one of those, like, body swap machines, but then accidentally came out in the same body together. Like, that's Josh Allen. That is exactly what he is. He's not an alien like Maniac and Al were arguing about in the 43 North commercial. That's who Josh Allen is. He's a golden retriever and a child in the same body, and it's a beautiful body at that. But number two, like, if you think about, okay, why would he go back to the Giants? Like, I'm sorry, but there's
also use your football sense, right? Yeah. All the teams that have been interested in him, the Rams, they're a mess. The Giants, literally, Saquon Barkley was playing quarterback last Sunday. The Saints, Andy Dalton is playing quarterback last Sunday. Like, why would Odell want to suffer himself to that when he could just play with Josh Allen? Like, that's really that's all you need to hear as much as anything else. He's never played with a quarterback like that.
And if he comes here, he is guaranteed the 1B in the offense, right? Like the 1B, I would say. Maybe not quite the 2.
I think so.
But
and I know people don't want to like, because of Gabe and everybody loves Gabe Davis and everything else. Bro, it's Odell Beckham. Like if Odell is healthy,
it's 1 year.
It's
one
not
year
even
of Odell Beckham.
It's not even like we're not going to be able to help it. You're not going to be. It's going to be evident the second he steps on the field and is wide open because he's playing across from Stefon Diggs and has like 180. Whatever. Like he's gonna, if he is healthy and he shows up on the Bills and they have all their receivers, he is going to have, I would say, multiple huge games, multiple 100-yard games, because that's the talent he is. The dude was basically like, if he doesn't play in that Super Bowl, do they win that Super Bowl even with only playing in the first half?
No.
He was open the whole time.
They built that lead because of Odell Beckham. He was the Super Bowl MVP. He was the probable Super Bowl MVP until he got hurt. And then Cooper Kupp comes in and, does Cooper Kupp-like things, and he's the MVP. I won my boss a steak dinner because I told her to pick Cooper Kupp for the MVP in like a nice radio pool that she did. And so, that's a Super Bowl I will never forget. But no, they don't win the Super Bowl without Odell Beckham. I'll go as far as to say they might not make the Super Bowl without Odell Beckham.
I would agree with that.
And you look at, it really comes down to 3 teams he could go to. It's the Bills, the Bucks, or the Packers. And the Bucks, he could reasonably see himself being the 3rd targeted wide receiver on that team. Reasonably. He could be number 1. He could be 3rd. Like, there's no certainty there. The Packers, I think, is where it gets really interesting, because I think that it's not exactly a secret that Aaron Rodgers' skills have definitely declined, but also they're still a Super Bowl caliber team. That defense isn't as good as people thought it would be, but still Super Bowl caliber team. And he enters that offense as the bona fide absolute number 1 receiver.
Man, are the Packers a Super Bowl caliber team? I was going to get into this. I've got it was part of my hot take later. This might be my hot take now, though.
I mean, in our NFC North show this summer, I picked the Vikings to win the division. So I won't disagree too much, but go off.
They only beat the Patriots' 3rd string quarterback by 3 points at home. They only scored 14 points on the Tampa defense, who just let up 41 to the Chiefs. Now, mind you, it's the Chiefs, whatever. But if that Tampa defense was elite, they would have given up more of a struggle. So we look back, Packers only score 14 points, and then they beat the Bears, who literally won't throw the ball. You shouldn't do. And the team they play this week, who they are heavily favored over, also beat the Bears with a running back playing quarterback for part of the game. And as we mentioned that already, the New York Giants. So there's nothing been impressive so far. Go Dable. Nothing's been impressive about the Packers so far to me. And that's why I'm not worried about them as an OBJ contender. The only team I'm worried about is the betting favorite currently, who is the LA Chargers. And I think that's just because LA wise and not going to go to the Rams more than anything else. But like I said before, I think it's already done. I think it's basically just without pen to paper has been, whenever I'm ready to go, I will sign on the dotted line with the Buffalo Bills and we'll be ready to roll. Like, I just think that, I just feel that in my soul. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it just, Von's been telling us. He's literally been telling us that this is happening. And the more they bring it up and the closer we get to it, and then seeing the visits and everything else, it just feels right to me.
It does feel right. And even with the Bucks, like, Brady does not look his best.
Well, he's got some shit going on. He's got running some shit going on. He's running the gamut.
Yeah, and maybe
his
what
dark
he needs
magic's
is a
wearing
boat party
off
with Odell. Maybe he needs a good boat party with Odell. Is all I'm gonna say.
That'd be a good idea.
Maybe it's a good fit for everyone involved. But we are getting a little around the NFL here, so let's go around the NFL here because we got some NFL hot takes. I guess you said you had one you wanted to lay out there. I got one that I want to lay out there before Thursday Night Football starts. And we did have Dwayne ask. He said we have 13 minutes to answer, and this was 12 minutes ago. Montgomery or Melvin Gordon?
Sorry, Dwayne.
Of course, Montgomery is questionable. I would honestly, I hate Melvin Gordon tonight. I really do. I think they're.
I don't pick Thursday night players, so that's where I would do it.
Oh yeah.
If it's a tiebreaker for me, I go with the Sunday guy.
I have not set a single fantasy lineup, so I have to go through and do this. So why don't you tell me what your NFL hot take is, and I'll react in about a minute and a half.
It has to do with, brought this team up a bunch. Saquon Barkley should be, if he plays like this the rest of the year, should be the MVP of the league. That's my hot take. He is leading the league in rushing right now. 463 yards rushing. He's right now receiving the ball. He has, I'm trying to get here. He has 100 yards receiving already. So he's 570 or 580 yards from scrimmage, 570 yards from scrimmage already on the season through 4 games. This team is 3-1, has no business being 3-1. And it's really only because of what he can do offensively. I mean, they're not getting anything from the receivers. Kadarius Toney is he's just in the doghouse eternally for whatever reason. Kenny Golladay is probably the worst contract in the NFL right now, the way he's looked. Sterling Shepard's out for the season now after his injury on Monday Night Football. This team is devoid of talent. Daniel Jones is probably a backup quarterback from what we've seen so far, and yet they are 3-1, won some ugly games, obviously, and it's only because of Saquon Barkley. And if he keeps this up, if they go 9-8, 10-7, and he has, right now he's on pace for like 500 yards receiving and almost 2,000 yards or almost 1,800 yards rushing, that's an MVP season for me. This was always his ceiling. And if this team is a winning team in any way, shape, or form, it's only going to be because of Saquon Barkley. And to have a running back impact winning like that, I think Ryan Russillo made this point on his podcast the other day. There's no other team in the league that can really have a running back lead their team to victory like Saquon has been able to do. And that was a couple weeks ago. And so I'm also looking at going into this Packers game, I'm going to hammer that Giants team because I don't think the Packers are that good. I think if you're going to play in an ugly game against the Giants, you could very easily lose. And it's because this guy has that big play capability, everything else. That's what it is. I think if he keeps this up, he's MVP. Like, you have to give the running back the MVP if he is able to get this team, just looking at the rest of that roster.
I mean, he's also quarterback after running the Wildcat offense.
He does everything.
He had to. Yeah, no, he's got it on his resume. I mean, technically that should be a win for Saquon Barkley. Wins are a Saquon Barkley stat. We can say that for sure. So my hot take is there's a team that I think a lot of people pick to be the worst team, not just their division, not just their conference, but maybe the NFL. And there's a reasonable world where they might win their division, actually. And they are currently ranked 3rd overall in offensive DVOA. They're 13th in team DVOA. Defense could use a little bit of work, so we're not going to mention that number. But I really, really genuinely think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win the NFC West. I am all aboard. I am all aboard the Geno Smith train. Pete Carroll is like the worst, best coach in NFL history because he there's no doubt he heard the let Russ cook shit. He heard all that last year, and he was stubborn as a fucking fuck that he is. That made me accidentally drop the F-bomb on hold with WGR. No, on the air with WGR, actually. Sorry, Jeremy. And he's just, I think he's terrible. I think he's god awful, but he's petty as shit. He's so goddamn petty, and he is letting Geno fucking cook. And this, I did not think of this take before Meerkat's viral tweet pointing out that Tom Brady came back just to have a worse QBR than Geno Smith. I thought of this before that. So Meerkat might agree with me here, honestly. I'm not afraid of Arizona. I think Cliff Kingsbury is a horrible coach. I think Kyler Murray is going to get addicted to Call of Duty as he usually does. You guys just beat the Panthers by 10 points. Congratulations, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't see them winning more than 9 games this season. The Rams, we already know they are just not the same football team. Losing Von Miller is evident on that defense. Matt Stafford is racist and only throws to white people with really Polish names, apparently. Who the fuck is Ben Skrower?
I don't know, but I need him in my Dynasty League this week, so
His name is like when a husky just starts screaming for no reason. Like that's what his last name sounds like.
My other hot take was they never should have traded Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. So we're on the same page there.
I mean, short-term gain and long-term pain. That's all you can say about it, you know?
His last 17 games, I'm stealing this from Pablo Torre. Last 17 games, he leads the league in interceptions.
Matt Stafford?
Matt Stafford.
Wow,
that's into last
one.
season and the playoffs. Yeah, last 17 games, leads league interceptions.
That's nuts. Oh, here's another one that was going around. Jared Goff has been a part of 3 of the highest 20 scoring games in NFL history.
Yep. And they are the number 1 scoring offense in the league this year. The Detroit Lions.
They are. What was really fun after week 2, they had as many points for as the Bears and Packers combined. They also had as many points against as the Bears and Packers combined. They're just the most fun football team ever.
Gosh.
They really and truly are. Oh my God. The Detroit Lions are making the NFL great again. Oh, truly, truly fucking are. Yeah. Man, that football, what's it called? That Thanksgiving football game is going to be really, really damn good. Bills Lions.
I'm very scared of that game. I really am.
I'm betting the over already. Like I want the line to come out now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. They're good. And they might have Jameson Williams back by then.
That's true. Yeah, it's terrifying.
That's going to be a fun
Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown together on the field is going to be just
them with TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift could be the best wide receiver tight end running back in the NFL.
It could be. But yeah, this is we got into the Lions here from the Seahawks.
I'm not even mad
who the Seahawks beat. Who the Seahawks did beat last week.
Just beat.
Yeah.
The Seahawks just beat the most fun team in the NFL.
48-45.
Scorigami.
It was a scorigami. It makes me. I'm very excited that the Bills are back at 4:25, so I can enjoy Red Zone for the first game because the last 2 weeks, the 1 o'clock games, it's just been. I've got Red Zone on. I'll usually have the Bills game in Red Zone, and I just don't look at it. And sometimes I even have another game on, and it's too much. So I didn't get to enjoy much of the Detroit game this week, but that would have been a great Red Zone game to just keep popping back and forth in. Wild. All right, anything else?
This week they play the Patriots. This week the Lions play the Patriots.
No Swift and potentially no Amon-Ra St. Brown. So very scared about it, honestly. But
wow, that's an under game. That's a big time under game.
On the road too. On the road for the Lions.
Oh my God, what's the total for that? We got so off track. We're done talking Bills right now, guys. Good Lord. Nyheim Hines is out. Nyheim Hines is out right now.
What?
Yeah, he got hurt.
My God, what do you mean he got hurt already?
Dude, I gotta tell you, I picked up Deion Jackson, the 3rd string running back, in so many leagues.
I have him.
Oh my
gosh, God damn it, Hines! He had one play. He's got 3 yards.
He had a catch and he had he had 2.
Okay,
Deion Jackson in this league. Oh, I picked them up in the league. I have Jonathan Taylor in, though. That's cool.
God damn it,
so we're going to get out of here before I just start looking at the fantasy app. Anything we missed on the Bills? I feel like we covered everything. Nothing that can't wait until the pregame show on Sunday. Of course, I'll be in attendance for this game, actually. So I'm going to have to bail on you guys for pregame once again. But you guys are handsome, and I know you'll hold down the fort pretty well for me. I feel like we covered it. We got the Seahawks to win the NFC West. Saquon's the NFL MVP. Any parting words for the people, my friend?
I'm just really hurt about Nyheim Hines right now. Really hurt. Really hurt.
Oh,
I'm in a tough dynasty matchup this week against a superpower team, and I needed all the help I could get. So thoughts and prayers to Nyheim Hines. Hopefully he's okay. I don't have any other thing else. The Bills are gonna win by 17 this week. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
I
won't be here, so my official score prediction is 38-13.
There we go. And then the hype machine really starts because then we get to go to Kansas City next week. And everybody, as much as the Bills can say, "Oh, we're not looking ahead to any games," blah blah blah. Get
they're looking ahead to.
Oh, I don't even know
right
who
now.
was on the schedule next. So they're such liars. I know. I can see that through their teeth. Yeah. They know. They've known when Kansas City was since the day that schedule dropped. And that's gonna be fun. But they will get through. I think we will handle business. The guys will be focused on Sunday. It'll be a fun one. The stadium is going to be fun too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Lauren's brother's coming into town, and so I'm taking him to the Bills game, and it's going to be
a Bills Steelers game is a great Bills game to experience.
It's always a good one to go to. Yeah. So, and the fun part is my brother and my dad are going to be sitting somewhere else rooting for the Steelers, and then me and Long Island Justin will be rooting for the Bills over there.
There we go.
Hope everybody has a great pregame, a great weekend. And if you do need to stock up for this weekend, Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case, located George Urban Boulevard in Depew. What's your outlet? Ours has been this show, the Crowd Says Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening on Spotify. For myself, Micah, all of Trainwreck Sports, good night now.